Welcome back to the I Jupiter podcast. I'm your host, Tom Franklin, and today we have on the incredible Barbara Shupe. I got directed to her somehow. She's on the channel with me, and I'm super excited. First of all, this is coming out on Christmas Eve, so Merry Christmas to you, your family, your loved ones. Enjoy the holiday season. Enjoy that time of year you get to come together and be one as a family and talk about the plans for the next year. Much love, much respect, and that's from everybody here on the crew. That would be my moderators, Pam, Jenny, Denise, Jim Powell from the Night's Watch, and of course, Daniel Cahoon from Magical Journey Podcast. We all wish you a very happy Christmas. And if you keep finding or Merry Christmas, pardon. If you keep finding yourself coming back to the I Jupiter Podcast, or this is your first time here, please do me a favor, like and subscribe to the channel. If you want to become a member, you get some content earlier. I just had on, this is the week after, so I had on, oh my God, her name is Karen Wilkerson. That was an incredible episode. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. She came on and just poured her heart out, and we talked about everything that happened to her. So that was a very good one. So you can go ahead and do that. It's about $5 a month, $6 a month. I'm not quite sure what it is. You can do that. If you want to contact me through any of my links, they're down in the description below. There's t-shirts there for Christmas. They're all there too. Well, now that it's Christmas, it'll be a little late, but maybe a New Year's Bigfoot shirt. I don't know, whatever you're into. And what else I want to say? Oh, if you want to go ahead and contact me, you can do so at the ijupiterpodcast@gmail.com. You can also find me on all your MP3s, downloading areas, so you can listen to me if you're out selling your Coke and Pepsi products, or on the move selling plants or helping animals. What it is that you're doing, the podcast is with you. So with all that out of the way, let's welcome to the show Barbara Shupe.
Hi.
Hello. How are you today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Oh, I'm down here in sunny Mexico, enjoying about 90-degree weather right now.
Okay. I'm up here in rainy Greenwater in Washington State, where it's just above freezing, but it might snow tonight.
Where's that at? Greenwater? Was that on the Olympic Peninsula? Where is that?
No, that's in the Cascade Mountains, directly north of Mount Rainier.
Wow. Okay. So that's okay. I've never been up there. I've never been to the Northwest. Maybe one day I'll come up there and say hello to you, because, I'm down here in the Yucatan too. So if you want to come down and see some pyramids, come on down and talk to me.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. So thank you so much for coming on, first off. And Barbara, for the people who do not know who you are, please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself and maybe where we can find you.
Okay, well, my name is Barbara Shupe, and like we said, I'm here in the Cascade Mountains. I have a little cabin just downriver from here, where I've been there since 1993, and that's when I had my first Sasquatch experience. And I had already had a lifelong interest in them, but I didn't realize they were going to wind up being my neighbors for decades. As time has gone on, I've had multiple experiences with them. I spent several years gifting, and the family that's there, I think there's probably been a few generations that have grown up in the forest around my cabin. So I think we've gotten to know each other pretty well. They probably know me a little more than I know them, but it's been a wonderful journey. I started documenting on YouTube in 2012, and I've recently written a book about my experiences there around the cabin. I have some pretty good footage. I have the Cloaker video that's been featured on the Flash of Beauty Paranormal Bigfoot, and also in the new David Paulides movie, American Sasquatch, Man, Myth, or Monster. And it's pretty amazing.
That's fantastic. I love that. I always say it on the channel, but I always love when people find whatever it is in their life that just compels them to do what it is that they love. And it's just that, from what I know, to have a habitation near where you live, that means they have a lot of trust in you. So if they trust you, then so do I.
Oh, very good. Well, I think they do.
Yeah, that's great. What is the name of your book, Barbara?
It's called The Unseen Audience, Walking with Sasquatch.
Unseen Audience. Okay, you're gonna have to give me all those links so I can put those down in the video here. Okay,
so guys,
down below, go ahead and click on the book and get that, so you can support Barbara and what she does up there in Washington State. So 1993 is when this all started for you?
Well, personally, it all started back in the 70s when my folks took us camping up at Spirit Lake before Mount St. Helens blew up.
Okay.
And that was where I first heard about the story of Ape Canyon. And I was fascinated, and I've just kind of been hooked ever since then. I was probably 7 or 8 years old. And, growing up back in the 70s, there wasn't a whole lot out there that was available on Sasquatch. So, every TV show or book or article in a magazine, anything I could find, I just had to have it. And then as an adult, I was just drawn to the mountains. But, I really didn't expect that it was going to be like this. I thought as an adult, I thought I was going to the mountains to go, be in nature. I didn't realize that it was going to turn out that I'd have a family of Sasquatch for neighbors. But
Yeah, that
it's
is that's
wonderful.
I'd imagine maybe being in the 70s was Leonard Nimoy's show out back in the 70s. Was that right? Is that right?
It was. I think that was 77, 78, right in there.
And
And
Mount
oh, yeah,
St.
I don't
Helens,
think I ever missed an episode.
Mount St. Helens was like in March of 1980. I only know that because it was like a month before I was born. So I
May.
May. Okay, I was born in February, so I'll be
Okay.
46 soon. So you've been up in the mountains for about 48 years, and you just enjoy being in nature and just being in close contact with Mother Earth.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I'm with you.
Mhm.
I bought like I was telling you, I came here because I didn't want the shot. So I bought 10 acres of prime jungle real estate here in the Yucatan Peninsula, and I
Oh.
got jaguars out there. But we have weird stuff in the woods here too. We have a thing called a lucius, which is like a Mayan little people that throw rocks at you and you hear voices, and I've heard voices out there. I've had a rock thrown at me.
Wow.
So there's also some creepy stuff down here. So that's an open invitation. We also have the Ishtabai, which is a famous witch. It's kind of like the Bell Witch of the
Okay.
Yucatan, and many, many other things. Skinwalkers. I just started recently hearing stories from this area of actually dogmen encounters. So
Okay.
it's one of those places too. Oh wow! I'm sorry. I'm a little excited. I know you're like, I'm just a person. So am I. But at the same time, there's always when you meet somebody that recorded something that is just so interesting, for the lack of a better what was another word? Not a simile. What's the word I'm looking for? Anyway, something that means the same thing but another word.
Yeah,
I can't think of it
I
right
know
now.
what you mean.
Yeah, it's in the dictionary somewhere. Yeah. Is the Saurus that book, whatever that the Saurus does? That's what I'm talking about. And it's just. Could you? I just want to go ahead and like just start with this video, and then I want to go back in time just to kind of get it out of the way. Could you set this up a little bit first so people know what it is that I'm about to show them?
Okay, so this was in 2014. We had put together a camp out just to bring some people into the area and just have some fun and maybe have some experiences. There were 9 of us that went up the trail that day behind my cabin, and we were just going to look at some tree structures, some interesting things in the woods that I had found that I was going to share with them. So part of our group stayed on the main trail because they had already seen what I was going to show, and the rest of us stepped off maybe 100 feet into the bush where I was going to just show them a broken tree that it was suspended on either end, and then it had been broken in the middle. And it was just interesting because we were trying to figure out how it had been broken in the middle without either end of it being knocked down on the ground. It was just supported by just some broken branches.
Hmm.
So we went out there. I had my camera on. It was attached to my walking stick just in case something happened. I at this point had become pretty accustomed to things just popping up around us, things just occurring when you least expect it. So
Right,
I had,
right.
yeah, I had started just carrying it that way, and I wasn't like actively aiming it at anything. It was just in case. I had so little storage in my iPod in those days that I would record for 5 minutes, and if nothing happened, then I would delete it and start recording again for another 5 minutes. And so
Okay.
that's what I was doing. And so we're standing there, we're looking at this broken tree, and my friend Claudia, she's kind of standing in front of me, and I noticed that she kept looking off to the side, like she's looking at something. Something had her attention. So I'm watching her and I'm looking over where she's looking and I'm not seeing anything. And then all of a sudden, I just see this little triangular, black haired, domed head shaped individual just popped up and took off running. Well, I knew the camera was aimed that way, so I had high hopes that it had captured it. And then when we got back to camp, we sat down and looked at the footage, and all I had was this little blur there. So we put it on a bigger screen, and at that point, it kind of looked like the Predator movie.
Right.
And well, I was pretty confused because my iPod could not do Predator movie kind of stuff, and it wasn't what I had seen. What I had seen was the little black hairy individual that popped up and took off running. So the next morning, one of our rules is to not be, invasive. We don't want to put pressure on them. So when we do have an experience, we leave and then come back the next day and look for evidence. And that's what we did. We went back the next morning, and the first thing we did was try to figure out what that blur was, to see if there was a bush, a branch, if there was something there in that spot that could have created that anomaly in the footage, and there wasn't anything there. The only thing we did find was the footprints, not just from the individual that I saw, which took off running to the left, but a second individual that was a little farther back had run back, and following his tracks, which were basically no more than scuffs in the ground, that he had circled back around, and both of them, I believe, had jumped into a hole in a pile of the old logging debris that was out there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, let's go ahead and show the people. This is over on Barbara's channel, and let's see this. It's been a minute. Okay, so there it is, and you can see that I got it at the moment in which this happened. So there's your friend you were talking about.
Yep, that's Claudia.
Claudia, wonderful Claudia. Hello, Claudia. And we're going to go ahead and play this to show you people, the audience. Let me back it up a little bit. What we're talking about.
Really hard and really fast right in the middle to break it there, to not break these smaller pieces that are supporting it at either end.
Yeah, that had to been, like a thrust and not a hang, you know what I'm saying?
Something hard and fast. What the heck was that? Did you see that?
Like a thrust and not a hang, you know what I'm saying?
Something hard and fast.
So strange.
What the heck was that? Did you see that?
Like
and something that happened just after this. It's hard to see in the footage, but there's a glitch in the video. You know how you hear about the Sasquatch can affect your cameras?
Yes, ma'am.
There's actually a glitch in the video just seconds after he drops down and runs off.
Okay.
Well, I don't know if you can see that.
Something hard and fast.
Wow.
What the heck was that? Did you see that?
So for the people looking, and maybe you don't see it, it's in the left, I would say to the left middle. So the left side of the screen, about halfway up, right before that big tree on the left, you see something literally drop down and run away. And it's just astonishing. And just one more time, it's just one of those things that like I said, I look at this
like a thrust
so many
and
times.
A hang, you know what I'm saying?
Something
Right,
hard
like, what
and
is
fast.
For any amount of time.
What the heck was that? Did you
Yeah.
see that?
Been,
Yeah.
like a thrust and not a hang, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
There it is, one
Something
more time.
hard and fast.
I love it. You're very PC too. You're like, what the heck was that? I don't think I would have used such nice words because I would have been shocked by it.
I got to be polite.
No, it's just it automatically shows your personality and who you are. Just kind of an open person, and just just the way you are, a friendly person. So I'd have used a couple more choice words than that.
Well, you haven't seen any footage of me falling down yet. So.
Oh, okay, all right. I'll check that out later. What is the name of your YouTube channel so people can know what it's called?
Well, it started out, it was Squatching with Barb and Gabby. And then when that was my dog Gabby, when she passed away, I changed it to Squatching with Barb and Goldie. But Goldie really isn't much of a Bigfooting dog, so we just have it as just my name, Barbara Shupe, on the channel.
Barbara Shupe. Okay, what is a Bigfooting dog? What's that?
Well, I think that's a dog that was born specifically to be out in the woods and, be able to respectfully interact with them,
Okay, so they're not like aggressive, or they're just kind of chilling out and looking around. Oh, wow.
Yeah,
So,
they are aware. She's totally conscious of them, but to her, they're just kind of like the elk. They're just part of the forest. So
there's
she
part of
doesn't
the
get too
background.
worked
All
up.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
I had a dog too that we always, one day he did chase a deer and I wondered where he was and he ran across the path and it was jumping over the path in Germany, in the woods of Germany. And I was like, oh my God. And he also had wild boar out there too that he liked to chase. He got a couple of them too. One time he got two of them conk, conk, right next to
Oh
each other.
wow.
He came out all proud, just hanging. I was like, "Oh my God!" Because in Germany, that's a no-no. Uh,
Yeah, I'll bet.
yeah, this is allegedly Germany, allegedly.
Okay.
So after you film this, after you look at this, you say there's an anomaly. So what did you do with the footage? Who did you start showing this to? Maybe Tom Contrell, or who did you start showing this to get some type of clarification of what you saw?
Um, let's see. Well, I took my time getting it posted because I wanted to go back out in the woods and do the recreations, take the measurements. Um, so it wound up being a part of a 5 video series where the first one was mostly just that day when we were walking on the trail. I posted that and then I started getting messages. In the weeks after that were the videos that had, the recreations and the interviews, the measurements, all that stuff was in the following videos. But I had a lot of messages from people who wanted a copy of it, and pretty much anybody who asked for one, I sent them a copy. So, to analyze it. I was so new at this back then that, I was just open to whatever anybody could tell me because at that point, I had heard about cloaking, but it just wasn't something that I was into. I was
Yeah,
kind
yeah,
of real shock for my system. And I had even experienced Sasquatch vanishing into thin air right in front of me, but I had always rationalized it into something else.
really.
So,
That I didn't know. Tell me about
yeah.
that experience. Tell me about that one.
Well, that would have been November 1st, 2012. I had been having experiences that just around Greenwater that really had my interest. I mean, I knew that things were happening, and I'd been talking to my neighbors, other people in the community about things that they might have experienced. And then one morning, one of the local guys told me that when he was logging back in the 70s, that there was gear would be thrown off the cliff down into the canyon where the creek that flows past my cabin comes from. He said the oil drums and wire spools and things like that they'd have to be fishing them out of there in the mornings. And so according to him, that's where the Sasquatch lived. So, okay, well, my next day off, I climbed up the top of the mountain, and it had been years since I'd been up there. I just wanted to know, I wanted to see what was up there. And I had a couple of knocking sticks in my backpack. And so I took Gabby. It was about mid-afternoon. We started up, and I got to almost to the top, and the trees opened up, and there was a good solid stump next to the trail. And it's like, well, this is a nice place to just sit down and take a little break. So I sat down and I started hearing these strange voices, this weird talking in the woods down below me.
Okay.
And it was just gibberish. So I got out my sticks, and because I'm thinking, are there hunters down there? Are there foreigners down there? Are these weird German hunters? I'm thinking of every.
German hunters.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking
Was machen wir
thinking
jetzt?
about all
Ich
the
habe keine
weird
Ahnung.
movies I've ever seen.
Wir müssen was schießen.
It was
It didn't
weird.
sound like that, I'm sure.
No, but it was bizarre. But in case they were hunters, I didn't want anybody shooting up on the hill, and I didn't really want to holler out either. So I thought, okay, well, I'll get my sticks out and do a knock. So I did that, and it went silent. And okay, well, at least whoever's down there knows that there's somebody up here now. So all right, so let's finish our hike. So I stood up, and right behind me, the bushes were so thick that you couldn't see more than a few inches into it. And in those bushes, I heard this deep. So now I'm thinking, okay, there's a bear up here. We need to get moving. Okay, so me and the dog, we got on up to the top of the hill. It was maybe just another 5-10 minutes till we were up there. And I stood on the edge of the canyon across from where that landing was that he had told me about. And I knocked my sticks several times, and I was really disappointed because nothing interesting happened. And then I realized, it's getting late in the day. We should start back down. So we started back down, got past the place where I'd heard the talking, and it was all was quiet, all was well. We get down to where the trail starts to cross the old logging roads that are up there. And the first one that it crosses is really steep, but it's pretty direct. So I went ahead down through there. And in that part of the woods, it had been selectively logged before. So you could see a good distance. It was wide open in there. And we're about halfway through there, and I hear this whistle, like a human whistle, like somebody that's right beside me on the trail, and there's nobody there. So I'm looking at Gabby, and she's looking at me, and then we hear another whistle at the bottom of the trail where it connects to the logging road, maybe 80 feet below us. And it's wide open in view. I can see down there. There's nobody there. Okay. And I'm thinking, well, maybe it was elk. Elk can whistle, but I've never heard them whistle like that. And I haven't seen any elk up there, but, it must be. So we went on down, and from that point, the trail gets really steep and rutted. So I just went ahead and followed the logging road down from there. So Gabby's walking ahead of me, and we walked around the corner, and I could see, she looks back at me, and there's something ahead of us around the corners. Okay. Take a few more steps, and there's a couple elk standing there in the road. So, all right, well, that's what it was. Okay, that explains it. Okay. So we go down around the next switchback, and I look up on the hill, and there's the whole herd is there. And it's like, oh, wow, cool. There's the elk. So we keep walking, maybe went another 50 feet, and I hear this crashing. And I look, and here comes the whole herd down off the hill, and they're crossing the road behind me, and now they're running parallel to the road on this side. So I look over, and I'm seeing them go this way, and on the other side of the elk, I can see there's an individual looking at me, and I'm thinking, gorilla? We don't have gorillas. And then it's like, oh my God, it's Sasquatch. It's a Bigfoot. Well, then the elk are done running by. He turns, and he just follows them right in the same path that they're going. And I can see him clearly from about mid-chest up, and a few more steps, and he's going to be just out into clear view, because he's blocked by the last leaves of the vine maples. They were yellow, but still enough of them on the trees I couldn't see below where they were at. But one more step, and he's going to be in clear view. And he takes that one more step, and it was like he just stepped behind an invisible curtain, and he wasn't there anymore. I stood there, I stared at that spot, and when I finally took my eyes off of it, looked down at Gabby, and she's staring at that spot, and she hadn't moved a muscle.
If she had shoulders, she would have went.
Well, after that day, before that day, when we'd sit down in the woods, she'd always sit on my feet and lean against my legs. But after that day, we sit down in the woods, and she'd sit behind me and lean against my back.
To look the other direction. Wow, what a very smart dog. Yeah, I love that kind of stuff. And so I'm this is all conjecture on my behalf, but I'd imagine, like, you probably just accidentally kind of walked up on them like hunting, and that's why they didn't know you were there. They were concentrated on something else. So they're talking probably about what they're going to be doing, or it's over here or whatever. And then you just, you and Gabby are down there just, mucking it all up.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I was messing up their dinner for that night. Which elk is on the menu.
Yeah, man. Give me some hind straps. That's some good stuff, man. So when you go out there to this area in Washington State, and you decide to move up in the woods, when was the first encounter, and like when did it become like a realization for you, like, oh my God, these stories that I've been hearing, or the little bit of what I've seen or read about, when did it become a reality for you?
Well, in 1992, the very first walk I took up the trail behind my cabin, I found a perfect footprint and 2 broken trees on either side of where he had walked through onto the road. And at that point, it became complete reality for me. It was no longer a myth or a story. I mean, this was a real footprint that I was looking at. So that was in 1992. But at that point, I was still thinking this was just, one lone individual passing through to more remote places.
Okay.
And so, you know, over the years, there were so many different things that happened. And I'd think to myself, you know, I wonder if that's something a Sasquatch might do. And then I always, in my head, I followed up with, well, no, that can't be. You know, if there were Sasquatch around here, I'd know about it. You
I
know,
need
it's
that bumper sticker. What would Sasquatch do? I need that bumper sticker. You coined it. You coined it. I'll market it. Okay.
okay.
Wow, I haven't had any experiences like that. I just find it to be fascinating, and I try to give people just a space for them to be able to talk about it. You know, a lot of these people are lifelong hunters and fishers, especially like in the deep South. It's such a part of their culture, and you know, they'll be hunting 30, 40 years in the woods, never see a thing, and then one day they'll see one and they're just unable to go back in. And that's what I try to provide them here, like that reconnection to humanity. Like, we hear you, man. I understand you. I believe you. You know, you can see it in their, you know, a lot of people, it's you know, it's so out of the norm that they don't know how to like take it in. So for them to go back out there in that same space where, you know, a lot of people get that roar and they feel it shake through their whole body and they're like, I don't want to ever experience that again. I mean, it sounds like most of yours so far that you've been speaking of have been, you know, like friendly encounters. I mean, have you ever had anything that's, you know, untoward?
There was one time I went out about 1 o'clock in the morning. I just was going to see if I could record some vocalizations. This was back just a few months after I saw the big guy following the elk. And I just wanted to record some sound. So I went up in the woods and there was about 6 inches of snow on the ground. And I stuck my camera in a little notch in the snow and I got something on the screen there. Okay. So, yeah, I just set my recorder there to record and I knocked on a tree and the tree was frozen solid. So it like rang out like a bell. The whole tree vibrated and it went out into the forest. And the next thing I knew, I had two individuals that were approaching me on the right side of the trail. And then on the other side, that sounded like there was a freight train coming. And there was a few minutes there where my heart went up into my throat and I thought to myself, oh, good grief, what have you done? But he stopped on the other side of the creek and didn't come any closer. So we were good.
Sorry, you're such a sweet person. Like, it sounded like Charlie Brown was telling the story. Oh, good grief! So good. You're such a sweet person. I love it, dude. I love it. Sorry. Oh,
It's
good
okay.
grief. Oh, good grief. This is the end of me now. Oh, heavens to Betsy. You know, it's just so no, don't be sorry. It's your personality, and I love it. So you're saying now, so around your cabin area, you're there, you moved to the forest. Congratulations to you. It's always been a dream of mine, and I'm able to do it now. It's very, I just love it. Makes me feel good. I love the connection with nature. All it'd be, you know, whatever that word is, very weird here with tarantulas and scorpions. So it's a different one, but, you know, being there. And, so when you're settling in, you're basically moving into their living room, you know, which is a good joke. My girlfriend told me, she said, if you want to go ghost hunting, always look for them in the living room. There's no dead people in there. Let's play on words. So, like, you know, so do you think they, through time, have accepted you being there because of your mannerisms and the way you go about the way you go about the things you do, trying to understand them? Or has it been like a longer, you know, process in them accepting you being there?
You know, I think it's probably a little of both. You know, I've been there so long now that there's probably been a few generations that have grown up, you know, and they've seen me, how I handle my dogs, my cats. You know, I had chickens and ducks for a long time. You know, they saw how I protected and took care of my animals. And, you know, once they knew that I knew they were out there, I did my best to respectfully reach out to them as best I could. You know, every week I took them apples and a jar of peanut butter and a pie and
Damn. All
fruit
right.
pie. Yeah.
Phew, and they got it good. All right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So yeah, so I think, it's just the ones that are parents now were probably little when I first came here. And yeah, so there's probably different generations that have grown up and just know that I'm a safe person to be around.
Fantastic. So
Yeah.
of course, it's it's not an experience that everyone has, but it happens more often than people will even now in this age of information, talk about. I guess my question is, like, has there been anything? I mean, I'm sure there's been plenty of things, but what has been the thing that has surprised you the most about them?
Oh, that's a good question.
Oh,
Um,
finally, tell the rest of my.
I think their sense of humor, the way that they play games, and they'll do something. They'll be watching what we're doing, what I'm doing, my friends when we're camping, and they will interact with us in the most surprising ways. Just um, a year ago in June, I was camped about 10 miles upriver from my cabin, and we had a little sidewall that we had put up to keep the breeze off of us from the river. And we were sitting around the fire one night, and I looked over and I got to see not an arm, but the shadow of an arm reached out from behind the sidewall and did jazz hands for us. So it was,
I thought it was going to be one of these, like little shadow puppets, what are called. That would have been
well,
cool.
my friend Lee is sitting beside me, and I'm tapping her on the shoulder going, look, look. And she's looking at that. And next, she's looking around the group, and we're all watching it. And she's like, everybody wave your hands. And it's like, well, clearly it's not us, but, and yeah, so to me, that's just like this amazing sense of humor for them to do something like that. I mean, the sole purpose of which was to entertain us, I'm sure.
Right. But that is interesting to know that would do that too at the same time. It shows a bit of intelligence to do that. Of
Oh,
course we
yeah.
know, I mean, from what I know, that they're intelligent, that they're well aware of what's going on. And I think they probably are tapped into nature and have some type of technology that we would even that word, I don't think is very dirty word, technology, but they have some type of connection that we have lost. I think that maybe we were kind of like them at some point. Do you have anything to add to that?
Well, I think at one point we were all, living in the forest, and we were all tapping into the energy of the planet and being able to communicate in different ways. And at some point, we decided to build a shelter and build a fire and go down the path where we're at now. But they're still walking the path that they had way back when. They're still um, you know, hunting for their food and finding ways to communicate from one mountain ridge to another, and living in harmony with nature. And so the way they've evolved is in in nature. It is part of what is meant to be. I think we're just kind of off track here. We're the ones that are kind of going the
Some
wrong
of us.
direction. We've lost our connection.
Some of us, Barbara. There's some people who are. I think people would say, like, in 2012. Oddly enough, some of the dates that you were bringing up was the end of the Mayan calendar, and they said then it was the end of the Earth. I think in many ways it was. I think since then there has been an awakening that has been undergoing, where people are like, whether it be through psychedelics like ayahuasca, going to Peru and connecting to the other, looking inward, meditation. And there's also those ones who've leaned more towards, like, virtual reality or playing games all day and not meeting and talking to anyone. People don't understand hand gestures and facial expressions anymore. And then there's people like you and myself. Right. It's kind of interesting. I think there was a split in, for lack of a better term, in, like, reality itself, because ever since then there's been so much oddness. It hasn't been the same since that date. And I just think it's so amazing that someone like yourself can say, you know what, I'm going up there and I'm going to, I mean, do other people come up there to experience it too? I mean, I know the video you were saying that you do that. So do you do that often? Do you still do that? What is it that you do other than document it?
4 or 5 times a year, I put together some camp outs where I have friends where we go back to these same locations where they've gotten to know us, and we just hang out and camp and enjoy nature. And a lot of folks, when they go out Bigfoot and they go out into the woods and they go hunting and looking for the Sasquatch, and what we do is we just sit around the fire and tell stories and enjoy ourselves and wait for the Sasquatch to come to us.
That's
And
interesting because also on the wrong Flash of Beauty, which I also took a look at, there was also Kevin Keeney on there too. He was also somebody who got interviewed by them, and I've interviewed him before, and also Tom Cantrell. And they said the same thing. I just sit there with my Diet Coke and my book and my lawn chair,
yeah,
and stuff just starts happening. It's just one of those things. Because
yep.
there's a lot of people that go out there with that I'm going to find them mentality. But I think if they don't want you to see them, you're not going to.
No, nothing will happen. You've gotta have a an honorable purpose. You gotta have some kind of a reason to be out there, that your own connection to nature. If you're going out there and your sole purpose is to hunt Sasquatch, nothing is going to happen. You go out there, you just spend time in nature, you collect some rocks, you pick some mushrooms, you just find a
Oh,
sunny spot and read a book,
missed
you
that.
know, and talk to them. Once they know that your experiences are going to just really take off. But, you know, if you've been out there in the woods your whole life anyway, chances are they already know you.
Right.
They're already fully aware of you. You just don't know about it.
So
So
your intentions are everything, which is
totally, yeah.
what I'm not a religious person. I'm a man of God, but I'm not religious. I don't like any of it. To be honest with you, there's just things I don't like about it. I don't anyone who's that helps them and that makes them connection with their creator. That's fine with me. I don't need a middleman. Personally, I don't need a I've had those experiences, but your intentions are everything. When you go
Mhm.
out there and you're open and you're mindful of what it is that you're doing, instead of having a slightly closed personality of thinking I'm here to collect things because I'm human, therefore it is mine, instead of just
Mhm.
going out there and kind of just opening up yourself and being like then I think that's when things happen. I really
Yeah.
do.
Yep. And once you've built the trust with them, they'll give you what they want you to have. It's like we've got a giant fingerprint that they put on one of the vehicles one night when they knew that's what we were looking for. We'd already spent 25 minutes checking all the other vehicles, going over them with a regular flashlight and a black light. And the last vehicle, we got a huge, perfect fingerprint that was so fresh we got to watch it dry. And
Wow,
he's breaking sticks in the darkness behind us. That was an intentional gift.
that's
They're,
incredible.
yeah, they'll let you have what the things that they want shared, and if it's done in a respectful way. You just can't go out and just take what you want, or go into the woods and expect to be able to just um, feed your ego. You have to go
Yeah.
in there
Oh, dude.
and
Me and you were going bowling for sure. I can feel it in our future. You know,
awesome.
yeah, yeah. This is the way I feel. You're like the things you're saying is the music that I like to hear. If you know what I mean.
Cool.
Let's kind of go off, change course slightly. Tell me a little bit about this book. What inspired you to write the book, and when was it released? And what could we or would we find in the book?
Well, the book is something that I know that I've needed to do for a long time, but it was just a daunting task.
Oof.
There's just so much to try to put into it, to organize it and make sense of everything. I started on it last January. I had done I wrote up a little story for Tom Cantrell, and it went so easily and smoothly that I just thought, I should really do this. And I had a lot of friends that were encouraging me. And so once I got started on it, I just went through and I made my notes for each chapter, and it went pretty well. Um, I started with, just kind of what we've been talking about here, about, how I got started with my experience at Mount St. Helens and how I grew up with this interest and my first experiences. And so the first half of the book is basically the first part of my journey into discovering what was in the woods around the cabin and how I was interacting with it and how I progressed to where I am now. And in the second half of the book, you're gonna see, well, you're gonna go from me being somebody thinking that there's just an undiscovered form of wildlife to fully accepting the paranormal abilities and then moving forward into where that's brought me with that full acceptance, the things that I experience now.
Yeah, you stole my thunder. I was actually going to ask you that. Because seeing what you've seen and knowing what you know, I was going to ask you what you felt about that, because there's something in the human nature where we're like, it's only this or it can't be that. And I think it's just the silliest thing in the world.
Yeah.
No matter what it is that you do, I'm an artist myself. I'm a comedian. Actually, I got to stand up tonight in Spanish. Good luck. Wish me luck. And I'm going to be sitting on a chair in a bar talking in Spanish about whatever I'm going to be talking about. And there's always, or a musician, a metal musician for many years. That's why the intro is the way it is, because I enjoy that music. And there's always somebody out there you go, you're not real music, or you're not a real comedian. And it's just so silly. Instead of like taking the information as it comes, looking at it and its merit, there's gentlemen that I've spoken to, tribesmen from Canada, from northern, was it the Vancouver Island? He's like, no, man, these are only flesh and blood. It's all in our founding documents, with a better word for our what's the word I'm looking for? In their culture, better said. And he's like, no, it's not that way. And I'm like, okay, dude, that's your opinion. I'll get it out there, as much as you can. But I'm leaning more towards you. They have something, whatever power they're tapping into, maybe the 369 of the universe, like Tesla was talking about, or something, where you give me a pendulum and a fulcrum placed in the right spot and I can move the earth kind of abilities. And for some reason, we're just looking at them in awe, like, you're a ghost,
Yeah.
or whatever that is. That's very, very interesting. So when did that acceptance come to you? Because you're kind of, I wouldn't say you're at the forefront, but saying that in such a, it's been 12 years, 15 years, something like that, to be one of the initial people to say, I think there's something more to that. Was that readily accepted at the time?
No, it didn't go over very well.
Okay.
Not back then. I started off thinking, that they were completely flesh and blood, and I rationalized a lot of the things that I had seen and was experiencing. And it was when the Cloaker event happened that, I was kind of pushed into a position where I had to open my mind and think a little farther than what I was comfortable with. And then in the months after that, I was at a few other campouts where I was sizzled, kind of the infrasound type
Yes,
of thing,
yeah, yes.
a gentle version of it. I got to see the glowing eyes and things like that. And
I've heard
so
infrasound, I've heard zapped, I've heard roar, but I haven't heard sizzled. It sounds like I think you're like, I think you're thinking about barbecue, but okay, that's a good word.
Well, it was very gentle. So.
Okay. Oh, okay. Broiled.
It was very mild. So
okay.
that was when it really set in. So between the Cloaker event and getting to see their eyes turning on and off up close.
Turning on and off. What do you mean? What do you mean by that?
Well,
I haven't heard that.
Just that, they have complete control over that, where, I've seen them within 6 feet of me where there's nobody there, and red eyes just turn on, look at you, turn off, and there's nobody there. So
you're saying it's empty forest, and all of a sudden in front of you, a couple feet away or yards away, you see 2 glowing red eyes.
Yes.
And then they just not there anymore.
Right. And that happened a couple of times.
Crazy. That I've never heard.
Well, I've actually got it on camera from up behind within within a stone's throw of where the Cloaker event happened.
Is it on your channel? It's on your channel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna have to
So,
find that.
oh, you're gonna love that one. Actually, that's my favorite footage. I like it better than the Cloaker video.
Oh well, we're gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to have you on one of my live videos on a Friday so people can actually see that live and talk to you.
Oh yeah, I'll send you a video clip if you can include it with this.
I would love to put it on at the end. I would definitely put it on at the end. It would be my
Okay.
pleasure to put it on at the end. So,
Okay.
Barbara, this is yeah. Please. I'm sorry. You had something you wanted to say.
Well, this was when I had just gone up the trail. I just needed some footage to do a little voiceover video to tell a story. And so I took a few pictures and I just turned on the camera and announced I was recording. And there was an individual that was just right there at the edge of the trees beside the trail. And he looked at me and I was filming at 60 frames per second. And he looked at the camera, flashed his eyes for 5 frames. So to our eyes, that would have literally been a glint of light. And in those 5 frames, you can see his eyes behind the light. And in the 3rd frame, you can see his partially cloaked head becomes visible. And in the last frame, as he's looking away, you can actually see his pupil and you can look right into his eyes.
So it would have been like to us, like, not normally. I don't know. What do you guys say on the west side? We say lightning bugs. I think you guys say fireflies, kind of like what is.
Yeah.
Like that kind
Yeah. It would have just been just a glint. Figure, at if there's 60 frames per second and out of those frames, only 5 of them he's visible. And that also shows you just how fast they are for him to have looked at me in that quick amount of time and turned his eyes on it. And once again, I'm sure it was completely intentional.
I didn't know that at all. I should have did a little bit more research, Barbara. Good Lord. I mean,
I've got fairies too, if you want to get into that. They flew at the camera. I wasn't a fairy person, but when they fly at the camera, you become a fairy person. So.
What flew at what size? What size? You mean like Tinkerbell or something like that?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I know that's very. I'm sorry. I made that a very cheap reference, but I'm just. What do you?
No. Seriously, I've got a screenshot, and she looks just like Tinkerbell.
So it came from somewhere. Oh wow! So Walt Disney was out there in the woods seeing some stuff.
He knew something. Yes.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. Okay, that's fair. You're getting everything up there on your on your property.
So,
that's
like when I say, just talk to them, and they'll give you what they want you to have.
So, if you go with the open mind, right intentions, kind of announce what you're going to do in a calm voice. I'm going to record now. You can show up if you'd like to. You don't have to. There's no obligation. I'm just doing something, and they'll show up if they want to.
Yep.
That's incredible. What an incredible connection that you have with this family group. It's quite one. It's kind of like they accepted you in and to their family, and you are spreading the information of whatever love or connectedness to nature for them. That way people see them, because a lot of times you get this, a lot of people like, it's a monster. I don't think that. I don't think that at all.
So either.
There's a lot of people that, they're demonic or something like that. There's people who have that, that background. So that kind of comes through. I don't believe that either. They can believe what they want, but I really don't think so. I think it's more like they're just chilling in the woods, living their lives, and we're just kind of walking in their living room once in a while, leaving a cheeseburger or a pie in your case.
Peanut butter and apples.
That sounds like, man, give me some peanut butter and apple. So Barbara, one more time, where can people find your books and your YouTube channel and whatever else you'd like to promote?
Well, on YouTube, just look up Barbara Shupe. All my videos are there. In the beginning, I was doing a video a week, so all of my gifting and my early stuff is documented, which was very helpful when it came to writing the book. More recently, I've been doing a lot of Facebook Reels where I take some of my favorite footage and I'll just put it together. It's kind of a fun challenge to squeeze all the good stuff into a minute.
Oh, yeah.
So
all that editing, that's a lot of work. I know.
So yeah, if you look at my Facebook page at the Reels, there's some awesome stuff there. My book is available on Amazon. It's The Unseen Audience. It's got great reviews. Everybody loves it. And then this winter, I'm going to be working on the sequel. So the first one was the Unseen Audience Walking with Sasquatch. The sequel is going to be the Unseen Audience Camping with Sasquatch. So I'm going to tell you about what happens when I go camping.
All right, guys, you heard it here first. There's a sequel coming out. It's a bad terminology, but I'll say it anyway. It's the Terminator 2 of Barbara Shupe books.
Pretty much.
Yeah, because they did have the molten metal guy. There you go. That's the kind of okay. We'll run with that.
Yeah.
We'll run with that. Barbara, it's been a pleasure, and I appreciate so much that you came on to talk with me today.
Oh, I've had a great time. Thank you.
I'm glad I was able to make you laugh, at least unintentionally.
Well, thank you so much.
I hope to see you around, and please send that clip. I will put that clip right here.
I'm recording. I'm recording. I'm recording. I will do that.
Okay, guys. I hope you enjoyed that one. Thank you so much again, Barbara. And I hope to hear from you again soon. Remember, guys, we are the eye, we are aware, and I love you all. You have been watching the Eye of Jupiter podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel and hit that bell notification so you don't miss any of your favorite interviews. And remember, we are the eye, and we are aware.